Hey, 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 Instagram. What's going on, everyone? Happy Wednesday. Hey, Auntie Vonda. Hey, Kimberlina. Thank you guys for joining me for another Where They At Wednesday. Today, we are going to be talking to Dr. Khalid White. I met him maybe a couple years ago now. Actually, one of my professors, really dope individual, really inspiring and really cool. So I think you guys will enjoy this one. He has a lot that he does, a lot to offer. He shares plenty. Again, if you all are new to Where They At Wednesday, I'm Tay, Miss Tay's Good Hair Day, Tomorrow's Mobile Notary, and founder of Go Go Glam. And Where They At Wednesday is just time that I take out to highlight a business owner, an entrepreneur that I know or that's in my network, and we talk about what they have going on, where you can find them, where they at, all that good stuff. So thank you guys for tuning in once again. Welcome the people that are new, and Dr. White is right here, so let's get it poppin'. Uh-oh, wait a minute. Here we go. Boop. How's that? Can you guys hear now? Is that better? Can we hear you? Can you hear me? So I've been talking all this time and nobody's been able to hear me. Hi, Instagram. It's Tay. For another Where They At Wednesday, we're trying to make sure that everything is rolling smoothly. Instagram has been giving me some issues lately. I really hope that that's not the case. Better? Okay, fantastic. Today we're going to be talking with Dr. Khalid White. Since you all didn't hear me before, he has a lot of fantastic things going on. I met him. He was actually one of my professors at San Jose City. So I met him a couple years ago. And as soon as it lets us get together, we're going to talk about it. I don't know why it's saying that you're not. There we go. Hi.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, hanging tough like the new kids doing what I do, trying to do it to the best of my ability.
And I know you're doing it well too.
Well, thank you kindly.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, good to
I know
see you.
a while ago. I know I ain't seen you in a minute.
Yeah, I know. It's been a second.
Uh-huh. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great. I can't complain
Good.
other than, when I check the news and see all that type of stuff going on, that has affected my mood. But other than that, I'm not gonna let that affect you and I discussing and talking today. Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if you've had an opportunity to tune in to any of my other Where They At Wednesdays, but I've mentioned it to you. Been chatting with some other entrepreneurs in my network and in my family and in my friends list.
Right.
And just really wanting to let people know, where we are, where to get our goods and our services, what we're about, what our journeys look like, not just to encourage each other, not just for promo, but also to inspire other people who may be considering an avenue and not so sure and feeling like, nah, I can't do that, but realizing that we all have a journey.
Yeah.
And we're all out here. You're sideways.
Okay. Look, I didn't know if you...
You rock sideways this way, that way.
I just laid my phone that way. Yeah.
You rock sideways this way, that way. Yeah.
Well, I'm not a rapper. I'm not doing the sideways this way, that way. But
do you think you would rock with it at all?
Yeah, but I did at one point.
Tootsie roll a little bit. I got you.
All that.
I got you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you are Dr. Khalid White. I kind of gave a little bit of an introduction, but nobody could hear me. Yeah. That was my fault. I think I had it in the Bluetooth when I was rocking Pandora this morning. But on media, on social media, on your website, on YouTube, on Twitter, you are Black Empower, BLKMPWR.
Yep, BLKMPWR.
I love it. Briefly, kind of summarize what Black Empower does and what you, what people are getting when they come to you.
Okay. If I could summarize it briefly, I'm gonna try to keep it brief. We do all original, independent, Black-owned books, film, fashion, and music. And I got inspired to do it really out of a tragedy, which was the tragic killing of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri. So around that time, I had the idea kind of, drift in my head that, look, I want to put some positivity out there because, as you know, Tay, I'm a person that wants to put some positive images of Black people and people of African descent out there. So once I saw the Michael Brown situation and then how like the media treated it, and how they covered it and what they said and all that negative press that it received, I said, well, wait a second, I could do my own reporting and my own media, you know what I mean? So I went into a multimedia space and started off doing shirts and things like that to kind of, get my start. And then from there, the revenues and proceeds from the shirts got put into revenues and proceeds for books. And then the books turn into the money from the books turn into money for film. And the money for film is going to turn into money to invest in other areas, tech and real estate and things of that sort. So it's like a plan I had in mind, but it's really a plan to empower people of African descent. Black people kind of throughout the diaspora. And so when you go to Black Empower, you'll see some of the things that I've done, some of the projects I'm involved in, and there's a lot behind the scenes that I don't show. But it's a lot of stuff still coming, even during the pandemic. So I'm happy to say that, happy to report that.
Absolutely. Well, I know for sure I have purchased some of your merchandise. Definitely the reading material. Some of you on here have received a gift from me. The Black Fatherhood book. I have purchased a few of those. And also my brother was on here tuning in. I brought my nieces and my nephew those little your hermanito book, the bilingual book. And it actually totally fits the families for my nieces and my nephews because all of them have at least one little brother in there. And coming from a big family myself, knowing how that dynamic works where the older kids are basically training up the younger kids in the house and showing them the ropes, in the family and at school and everywhere else. Where did you get the idea for that book in particular?
I got the idea for the books. The kids was really watching my kids and watching nieces and nephews and the kids in the family play around. And my daughter is the oldest. And so she's the oldest of like the kids, right? So I'm watching all the little kids kind of follow her lead. If she starts running, they start running. If she starts, jumping around, they start jumping around. So it just was kind of a natural progression, like seeing how kids really do interact. I'm also the oldest. And so seeing how my younger brother or my younger cousins kind of followed some of the stuff that I did. If I say go
Mhm.
left, they go left. If I say go right, they go right, whether, good or bad. And so
Mhm.
um, that was kind of the idea. That's how the idea sparked. And then also, again, as a person who's in education, I know that Black and brown youth need to see themselves represented and reflected in the things that they read, the things that they write, the movies that they watch, things of that sort. So again, we're talking about empowering groups. We're talking
Absolutely.
about spreading some positivity and some positive representation. And that's what it's about. That's what I do. And so I want to start with the little kids to make them start feeling better about themselves and seeing themselves reflected. So that's why I went to the kids' book space, and I'm glad I did because, man, the kids' books have been, how can I put it, without bragging too much, they've been moving,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
happy that they have been, and I've gotten a really good positive response with the kids' books. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
I'm happy about them.
thank
And
you,
then,
and thanks for your support too.
absolutely, this is what I do. Okay.
Ah,
And I believe that
right on.
everyone has a part to play, just like we have different parts of our body that big parts, small parts, parts that are visible and parts that are not, but they all work together to make it run.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we're doing our own individual part, then the body runs
Yeah,
well. You know what I mean?
right on.
So you may not be the person doing the thing in that area, but there are ways that you can still be a part of the movement, a
Yeah,
part of the body flowing. You know what I mean? Whether it's sharing a post, sharing a link, buying something, doing a review on something,
right.
chopping it up with people. I know that you do speaking engagements. I've seen some of your flyers for that. And we
Mm-hmm.
mentioned, you and I have spoken briefly about um, you being open to different kind of opportunities for that. What type of events or environments do you feel like you fit more in case there are people here that may have some engagements coming up?
Um, Man, I've done them all. I mean, I've done a lot, in terms of speaking engagements. I do consulting for school districts and colleges and
Mhm.
things of that sort, on a professional level. I can do that. I really enjoy engaging with youth and families. That's really my like cup of tea, I think.
Mhm.
And so, whether we're talking about youth literacy, whether we're talking about fatherhood engagement, whether we're talking about parent engagement, those types of things I really enjoy doing. I mean, it's not the type of stuff that makes it's not the type of stuff that may make you get a million likes, but it's
Right.
the type of thing that is impactful on a day-to-day
Exactly.
basis when you go home and you go back into the community and things of that sort. So um, yeah, anything family engagement involved, community engagement involved, I can do it. I can do it Black, I can do it brown, I can do it with white folks too, because they
Right.
need the information too,
That part.
especially in light of what's going on right now. I think that, to be perfectly honest with you, the majority of my crowd and probably your crowd, so to speak, are people
Hmm.
of color. Man, it's time that we start getting into some of these white spaces and some of these tech spaces and some of these spaces that don't have a lot of people like you and I, because we're seeing it right now. They need some, how can I put it? I won't say some coaching, but they need some interaction help. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, Even in the police do. And I'm not necessarily sure that I want to start working with the police. That's probably not the lane I want to jump into.
Hmm.
But goodness gracious,
There is a lane for it.
there's a
Have
lane for it. That might not be me, but somebody needs to do that.
Right. Again, we talked about the parts.
Yeah, yeah,
Everybody
yeah,
has
yeah, yeah.
everybody has a part.
Right.
Have you noticed that people, non-black people, non-brown people, have been a little more open and interested in having the conversation lately? I
Somehow.
know I have.
Yep, somehow. Somehow.
I
You
have
do
definitely experienced that.
yeah, you do have your allies and those that are looking to try to examine their own privilege and own white
Yeah.
privilege or white male privilege. There are some,
Yeah.
I don't think there's enough. Obviously,
Right.
what we're seeing right now, there's not enough.
Right.
But yeah, there are some in pockets.
Mhm.
Um, I think a greater critical mass could be accumulated, but
Mhm.
that remains to be seen. But
Right.
you have to want to be better. You have to
Yeah.
want to um, learn. You have to be open to that. There takes a certain level of humility, a certain level of, hey, I don't know it all, a certain level of, hey, well, you know what? I do have a certain level of privilege over people. Let me examine that, unpack that. Let me try to figure out what I can do with my privilege to play my part to
Yeah.
make the relationships better. And there are some out there that want to do that. I just think
Some
we
of
need
the
more.
others, yeah, I think
Hmm.
some of the others they'll play the game and they really don't want things to be better. They just want us to stop talking about it, and that's not going to happen.
That
So,
can happen. We got to keep it on the forefront. I'm not sure if you saw, what the NBA coach Doc Rivers, he had like a post game interview yesterday, and he, was almost moved to tears by what was happening or what happened, particularly with this new situation with Jacob Blake in
yeah,
Wisconsin, right? But you have to keep it on the forefront of people's mind. You have to keep it on the forefront of on people's tongue and lips. That's why, if you take it from a social media perspective, that's why people post all the time,
yeah,
to keep it on your mind, keep it on your conscience,
right.
because people's attention span is so short
Very short.
nowadays. And if you have 1,000 followers or 10,000 followers, 1,000,000 followers, just imagine how short clips, snippets that you see of a zillion things a day. So you have to keep putting it on people's mind.
Yeah,
And whether people like it or not, whether mainstream culture likes it or not, this
right.
situation of Black Lives Matter has to be kept on the forefront of people's mind. This just doesn't make any sense to not do it, because we keep seeing the same things
Same
over
thing.
and over and over and over
The
with
same
no
thing.
with no change in results.
Right.
So
Right. And
yeah.
I think that there are some people who feel like, well, what can we do to really change? Because the issue
Hmm.
is so deep rooted and it's so foundational to a lot of stuff in the
It
structure.
is.
It's like how does how does what I'm doing really change that?
Hmm.
Um, and one of the things I share is I don't know yet, but don't stop anyway.
Right. Hey, and that's a great point. We don't have all the answers right at the tip of our fingers immediately
Mhm,
right today, right? And the
mhm,
problems that you mentioned are deep rooted, historically rooted. So if
mhm.
America's, 400 plus years old, I mean, this stuff started 1700s. This didn't start today in 2020. The problems are deep rooted. But yeah, how can we start the change? Well, we got to start with where we are right now on
Yep.
August 26, 2020, and move it forward from here. There's
And start to be
always,
the change that we want to see.
there you go.
Not
And
always looking and pointing, well, what somebody ain't doing and what
mhm,
they are doing. Be the change that you want to see. Because
absolutely.
I don't believe that we have individually have much room to judge where we don't have responsibility. And you're directly responsible for yourself, what you do, how you
Hmm.
operate, where you spend your money, how you interact with your people, how you raise your children, and all of that. This is
100%.
what you share on your platforms, whether you got 2 followers or 8,000.
Hmm.
You are responsible for you. That is something that you can do.
Yeah.
So I love that you have taken responsibility for what you share and what you put out there to change the narrative. And I mentioned having gifted a lot of people the Black Fatherhood book.
Hmm.
I also see that there's a couple of snippets on the interweb
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's available on DVD. You did have a film release event, didn't you?
Yeah. So, again, Black Empower is a multimedia, company. So if we do a book, we're gonna do a film. If we do a film, we're gonna do some music to it. If we do, a coloring book, it's gonna have the regular book to it. Like I try to do things that have
Yeah.
like a couple legs, right? So
Hmm.
the book definitely has a film to it. It has a full length documentary that's like 75 minutes, and then a short length, like about 25 minutes.
Okay.
So the book and the film kind of go hand in hand in complementary pieces. And, fortunately, um, people have been very receptive to the book, and people have been very receptive to the film. And I'm happy about that, because that was the first time I ever, stepped into the waters of the film and
Hmm.
really didn't know what I was doing. Now that I got the bug, I want to keep doing it. And I got some other film stuff in the works right now that I'm working on with a partner of mine. So yeah, we're not gonna stop. It's not gonna stop, Tay.
So along those lines, I do have a question.
Go ahead.
With the Black fatherhood, it's
Hmm.
what triumphs, tribulations.
trials and tribulations, testimony and triumphs. Yeah.
There we go. Testimony and triumphs. I love that. So we have the film, the short and the long. We have the book.
Yeah.
You do speaking engagements.
Yeah.
Is there going to be a curriculum coming up?
You must be reading my mind. Yeah, I'm actually engaged in a curriculum that we're gonna start doing with a couple school districts. And pre-pandemic, I was supposed to do it out there in the South Bay with the Roots Clinic, but the COVID kind of put that on hold. So I'm working now on the digital curriculum. So I'm about to start jumping off that with a school district here in the East Bay in October, November. Yeah.
My wheels are turning.
Go ahead.
Do you think that some of that curriculum can include repairing relationships?
Absolutely. 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 It has
so
to.
Much. It's so much. I had a conversation with my father a few days ago.
All right.
And without getting into too much detail, we got into the discussion about healing from things in your upbringing that you may have suppressed or may have justified over time, and patterns that you've created to, defense mechanisms and things like that from situations with your upbringing. And sometimes forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation in the relationships, but also just talking about his relationship with me and my relationship with him as we've developed, how we were able to repair our relationship. And then knowing so many parents, period, that have had severed relationships with their children, either due to incarceration or drug use or them not growing through their stuff. And then as an adult feeling like, well, I'm grown now, so what do I need a parent for? But not really realizing how important those relationships are just on a person-to-person level. Even if it's like, I don't need you to raise me anymore, just on a person-to-person level. I just think that if there's a curriculum or going to be a curriculum, how beautiful and how important the relationship building, or at least some kind of repair and reconciliation portion, can be for a lot of people in the prisons while they're in there, rehab programs, and just in the community, period.
No, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. As long as you're still living, and as long as the other person's still living, there is a chance for some sort of reconciliation, right? Even if it's not, I completely forgive you, I completely forget.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And still, man, we still need that relationship, even if you 25, 35, 45, 55. Relationships are lifelong.
Yes.
And imagine when you have, like, say, for example, a grandparent passed.
Yeah.
You still miss that I still miss my grandmother, still can hear her and that type of thing. And she, she passed like 10, 11, 12 years ago.
Yeah, mine passed years ago.
Yeah, and so that relationship, man, it doesn't matter if you are 6 or you're 26, 36, you still need that, because that's part of your internal compass, your emotional compass. And so you're going to use your emotions and your emotions to guide you in every situation. So, a lot of us, particularly who were affected by either the war on drugs or mass incarceration, which is, kind of part and parcel together, or single parent households, et cetera, or survived the 80s and 90s with all that, drug use and abuse and things of that sort, right? Yeah, we have a lot of healing to do. A lot of relationships that need to mend and repair. And so, part of the curriculum, so to speak, is going to be a little bit about that. It's not a how-to, but it's you need to, or you need to attempt it. But it's a lot of hurt, a lot of anger, a lot of emotions that go into that. So you have to be at a certain level of maturity to want to change or to want to repair it. But it's something that can lead to a greater good down the line, and also something that you don't want to keep passing that trauma down.
Yes.
You don't want to keep passing that brokenness down. A lot of us, myself included, got a lot of trauma from 13 and 15 and 22 and that type of thing. So you can't keep passing that down. And I that's one thing that you want to stop, that generational curse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So now that some of you have been tuning in and jumping out, feel free. Matter of fact, I encourage you to follow Dr. Khalid White at Black Empower on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube. Check out the website, www.blkmpwr.com. There's a lot of good stuff on there. Books, films. I checked out the little snippet of the Black Fatherhood film. There's a lot of good interviews on there, getting some perspective. I think that we see a whole lot of highlight of fathers around Father's Day or in defense of Mother's Day. But fellas, this is an opportunity for you to understand that you're felt, that you're important, that you are heard, that we get it, and that you're an intricate part, a vital part of every life on this planet as well. Don't feel downplayed, and continue to grow and connect with other fathers and with other brothers, and because everybody is going to be somebody something. My cousin and I talk about this a lot, especially the ones that are raising men. It's like, this is going to be somebody's man at some point.
Very true.
And I've encountered a whole lot of not great relationships, and it's like, these things started then, like they were somebody's child. Now this is a man and I'm dealing with his brokenness, or his lack of willingness to be open, or his inability to be in touch with his emotions without feeling away, or his inability to communicate effectively about things. So we have to be mindful of that when we're raising these ones, no matter what area you're in with their raising, because it does take a village. I'm a proud aunt and godmother. Very, very proud. I don't intend to birth anyone, but I am a part. I am the village too. Yeah. So these things matter.
No, for sure. You're a mother figure, I watched how people gravitated towards you for advice, answers, examples, and things of that sort when, we were in the same class together, and that type of thing. So don't think that went unnoticed, right? And so, you don't necessarily have to be a biological mother or father to have an influence on a young person, or even a peer or contemporary. You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily like I had to birth you in order to influence. You're influential just by the person that you are. You're giving people on this stage, where they're at Wednesdays, you give people a platform to talk about the things they do, and that's influential. You are part of getting our stories out, or getting our information out, and getting our stuff out to the greater masses. And so that's important. That's
I enjoy it. Like it keeps me inspired for my own ventures, the things that I'm working on. And sometimes when I feel like all this effort and it's not working, and having to change lanes, and having to being real focused on one path, and then having to shift it and pivot some, it gets tiring and it gets encouraging. But every time I get on here and I talk to you all, it's like, we out here, like we all we got. Yep. And I think one of the biggest differences between the big companies, I've mentioned this before, between big companies and smaller companies is people know where to find the big companies. It's not hard to find them.
Right.
I get people ask me, where can I find this and where can I get that? And I'm like, we out here. Yep. It's just you know where to find Walmart.
Yeah.
You know where to get, your stuff from those people. But where do you get the stuff from us? We talk about how much we don't have, but we ain't tapped into how much we really do have going. And how many of us are actually out here, like really pumping out really good quality things for us, by us. I mean, it's for everyone, by us.
100%.
You got fashion, you have books, you have film, you have music.
Yeah.
Is music mostly, I remember you asked me if I knew any kids that sang or rap. And I'm like, do I know some kids? Where's the kids at? Yeah. What kind of projects do you have for music? Is it mostly to complement the other things, or is it kind of separate?
Yeah, right now it's to complement the other things, but I'm getting ready to do some other stuff as soon as COVID hits, that, just a creative thing, right? So firstly, the music is, yes, I have these books, Little Brother and Little Sister, and the songs coincide with the books. So it's like, your kid can learn through books, but they also can learn through song and dance. And most kids like to do the little TikTok dances and sing along. And so we got some of that stuff
We had
that
Schoolhouse Rock, so
exactly,
I
exactly.
learned the preamble before ever taking government.
Ah, absolutely. So a lot of us learn through song too, right? Through repetition of the songs and things of that sort.
Absolutely.
So just another way for the kids to learn. But eventually, once I get back in the studio, I'm gonna start doing some stuff for adults and older people to kind of how can I put it, empower through song. And there's
Yeah.
ways to do that. Um, it's not something that is foreign to me because or to anybody. I think if you can write a poem, you can write a song. If you can write an article, you can write a book.
Yeah.
It's just a
I
mind
agree.
state thing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I had to experience that shift because growing up, I would write poems and I wouldn't share them with anybody. It was just
Hmm.
one of my outlets
Yeah.
that I kept for myself. I really didn't feel like anybody cared about my feelings anyway, but that's the way that I got it out.
Hmm.
So here as an adult, when I started working with some of the cover bands and like learning that, I actually had a voice that I could use for something. Um, I started to write songs, but I was nervous. And some other writers that I knew, they're like, if you write poems, you can write songs. All it
Right.
is a poem with a melody and
Right.
a
Right.
hook.
Yeah.
And some of my poems ended up going back to a line or two anyway, similar to a hook, like to sum up the idea. So it kind of, you're right, it just kind of flowed naturally in
Hmm.
there. And I really believe that. And that's encouraging for some of you who are thinking that you can't do something because you're doing one other thing. Don't put yourself in a hole.
Nope.
Um,
Don't pigeonhole yourself. And
Not
can
at
I
all.
can I add to that? It's if you look on social media, to be a entrepreneur and that type of thing is glamorized.
Yeah.
It's so easy. You just got to just get your followers up. It's not that simple. It's not as simple as it looks. It's going to be some discouraging moments and some anxiety and some sleepless nights along the way. It's
Yeah.
really a tough thing to do, to be like a self-contained unit, you know.
Yes.
Fortunately, in my situation, I've had some success and I've been able to kind of, scale it up. But it's been
Mhm.
over the course of 5, 6, 7 years. It wasn't over the course of 5, 6, 7 weeks or
Yeah.
days. And that's also being able to juggle the 9 to 5, which you know me, as just the 9 to 5 person, right?
Exactly. Hmm.
So yeah, it's a constant juggling process. It's a constant like upgrade process. You got to really kind of see what else is out there, the areas in which you're missing, maybe, or the areas in which you can improve. You got to have somebody else kind of critique you. You got to be open to that. So it's not easy, but a lot of us have the creativity to be very successful. It's just applying that creativity to
Yeah.
the things that we want to do. And so whether it's your followers or the people that's looking at this live, and the people that you talk to or people that I talk to, engage with, man, the creativity is there.
Yeah.
Culturally, we are some of the most creative people ever to
Yeah.
walk the earth, right? So
Absolutely.
it's there. It's just how do we apply it?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
So along those same lines, there's a couple of things that you said that reminded me of a couple of experiences. One in particular that stood out to me when I was taking a business prep course developing my business plan for Go Go Glam.
Okay.
And like you, coming from who I am and my experiences is where the thought for my business came from.
Mm-hmm.
And I was told, well, you don't want to pigeonhole yourself in just saying that you're for this type of thing.
Right. This
So,
audience.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So initially I was defensive about that
Right.
because it's like well, everybody else does for them. Why can't I do for us?
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought about it, and then my response changed to a question. It's like, if everybody else is number one marketing to us and mimicking us in their marketing, how would I be pigeonholing myself by also marketing to us with my know-how being a part of the community that's being marketed to?
Right. Right.
Why is that wrong?
It's not.
Have you experienced anyone asking you to not be or what they consider to be narrow
Mm-hmm.
in who you're highlighting and trying to empower.
Absolutely. I've experienced that. We talk about Black fatherhood. Why is it not just fatherhood?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what I mean? There's some specific things that go along with the racial aspect of it. In America, you can't separate race from anything. So,
Mm-hmm.
I was intentional about wanting to um, target the Black audience and the Black world, and I think that that's not going to change for me. If you're looking at um, Black America, 13%, 14% of the population, we are very small in number, but in terms of influence and impact, come on now, you know,
Yeah.
in terms of what we've done here in the States, just alone in the United States, in terms of just building the nation and building the nation's economy and
Right.
contributing $1.3 trillion back to the nation's economy every year.
Mm-hmm.
Why
Right.
wouldn't we market our services and goods towards each other? Of course, we want to do business with everybody, right? If you're doing business, you want to do business across race, across age, across gender, et cetera. So,
Mm-hmm.
I want to do that. And you need some other people outside of just the Black community to support you. And you need
Absolutely.
allyship for sure. But I think to target, for Black businesses, we typically are targeting other Black consumers nine
Right.
times out of 10. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, start with your foundation first and then expand from there. And so
Right.
that's my plan. That's my goal. And I'm going to still continue to market and promote to, the Black consumer. But it's for everybody. White kids
Right.
need to see Black kids in books.
Right.
White kids need to see Latino and Afro Latino kids and Spanish
I mean,
speaking
and
kids
why not? We see them and we
all the
are
time.
consumers for them and we buy their products and we go and get their
Hmm.
services and we
Hmm.
do all of that stuff. Why
Oh
not
yeah.
come to us?
And,
I
and
mean,
and as America's demographics change
yeah,
and becomes more, America's now a nation built of people of color. We have to
mhm,
see ourselves reflected in all aspects. So that's
absolutely.
books, that's on TV, that's in policy, in legislation, in
Yeah,
law, and you know what I mean. We just can't be pigeonholed to these. It's not just basketball, rap, and criminality.
right.
We're greater than that. We're bigger than that. We're more broad than that.
Been and
Always
always,
have been, and always will
always,
be.
um, and always will be. So speaking of that
Mhm.
and moving towards the future, I know that you also have tech there. How is
Yeah,
Black Empower involved in moving into tech?
man. If you're not in tech, you're gonna miss out. So not only am I talking about investing in tech startups and things of that sort, which I do, right? I've been fortunate to take some of this book money and put it into some, tech startups and things. But I'm also looking now to get some apps developed and that type of thing. I don't want to speak on it too much because I don't
Right,
want to let the cat out the bag too soon.
right.
Because
You don't
the
want
cat,
nobody to Zuckerberg you. That's why I
well,
don't be
that
talking.
too. And, you know, um, but yeah, I'm looking to try to move in that direction because if you're not involved in tech, at least, I may not be 2 feet in it, but I'm trying to get my toe in the water, my
Yeah.
feet in the water in tech. And being
Hmm.
in the Silicon Valley, you can't not be involved in tech somehow, some way. So, um, yeah, I'm looking to as an investor, one, and then two, as a participant
Uh-huh.
of tech products and things of that sort, and hopefully find some Black coders and some Black developers to work with in order to put my tech things out there. So
Yeah.
I'm working on that. It's in
Yeah,
the
I've
works.
been looking. I mentioned that to you. You actually referred me somewhere because I've been looking for that.
Yeah.
I actually, again, when we're talking about pivoting and adjusting and having capital and things like that to be able to move forward, there is a little something that I put in between now and the app. But
Hmm.
that was a fantastic resource, and I got an opportunity to speak with someone there.
Good.
Um,
All right. Those are my
Thank
people
you very
too.
much for
Yeah,
that.
those are my people. So, and some
Okay,
smart,
good.
sharp young people doing tech, the ones I
Yeah.
referred you to. I don't know if you want me to say the name of there, but
You can. Jammy
those are my
Tech,
peeps. Jammy Tech, yeah.
J-A-M-I-I technology.
No, we've done a lot of business, a lot of work together, and I'm really, really proud of those guys, Danny and Francois, and some of those guys that
Danny,
work
who I
there.
spoke with.
Yeah, Danny is the dude. I mean,
Yeah.
in terms of a billionaire mindset, And one of the sharpest guys in tech that you probably have never heard of, Johnny Tech, is that's the ones.
I've actually shared that information, their website and their name, with a few people along the way.
Good. Yeah, those are my peeps. Danny's my guy.
I think it's important. Yeah, Danny was cool. He was giving me a lot of information. He was like, I hope I didn't scare you off. I was like, nope, I called for information. Now I know what I need to do. I'll hit you when I'm ready.
For sure.
Period. Like, point blank, period. There's that. Again, you guys, if you're just tuning in, I'm talking with Dr. Khalid White of Black Empower. You can visit him. Follow him on Instagram and on Twitter and on YouTube. BLK MPWR is Black Empower without the vowels.
Right.
Also, go to his website, www.blackempower.com. There's a lot of great things. I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but the people that I have on here, I actually know them, interact with them, and use their stuff. Like, I have purchased these books. My nieces and nephews love Hermanito. I have shared Black fatherhood with quite a few. Matter of fact, last Father's Day, I bought a few of them for some fathers that I know. My cousin D-Boy, he actually was in your class years ago. I gifted him one of those books. He was like, that's Mr. White. I love it. What's up? And he really enjoyed the book too. Like, for sure. Y'all out here, we're out here. Stay present, stay locked in. Speaking engagements. If it wasn't for the COVID, depending on what's going on, I really wanted to connect you with not Panisi Publishing, same owner, Project Face to Face.
Yeah, I remember you put me in touch.
Yeah, the toy giveaway every year. That would be fantastic to have like a story time there.
We still could do something once everything clears up, for sure.
I hope so. I think that would be great, you know. But yeah, so again, guys, www.blkmpr.com. There's a film or a couple of them on there, bunch of books for adults and for children. And here's the thing. This is one thing that I thought. Yes, I'm not a father, but honestly, some of you parents, mothers to be, mothers, this might be a good read for you. Give you some perspective on who you're dealing with and give you another point of view when interacting with your children's fathers or with your husbands or with your exes and whoever else. Like, it doesn't have to be you in the situation for you to get something from it. And that's one thing I've learned about it. Everyone has something to offer, something that you can glean from and add to yourself. One thing about being a rounded thinker and being able to empathize, we want people to empathize with our plights and be understanding of our things, but we also have to be open to other people's perspectives as well, and it just adds to us that much more. So ladies, y'all can pick up the book and watch the film too. It's not just for them to learn and grow and be like, yeah, we Black fathers, but we're mothers too. Mothers of Black children, and we're raising these men who are going to be someone's father. So tap in there, ladies. Let's not.
No, I appreciate you saying that. I definitely appreciate you saying that because, to be honest with you, women have been some of the most outspoken supporters and in some cases critics because they are dealing with the fatherhood thing and the motherhood thing in a lot of cases. And there are some women that are in the book, and there are also women that are in the film. So, I did that purposely too. Is yes, we're talking more about things that fathers go to, but you don't have fathers without mothers. There's no way that's possible. So
you can't have one without the other. Yeah,
you can't have peanut butter and jelly without peanut butter and jelly. Right? So that's just
can't have top ramen and hot sauce without top ramen and hot sauce.
Absolutely. So women are a vital component to this, and we even talk about raising daughters too. I have 2 daughters, and so how that also affects men and women's relationships is the daughter thing is it's an eye opener. Put it like that. We'll just put it like that. It's definitely an eye opener, and it gives you a whole different lens. So we talk about in the Black fatherhood thing, we talk about raising kids that are not your own biological kids. We talk about raising biracial kids. We talk about the co-parent situation. We talk about the single dad and the single mom situation. We talk about how do you learn how to be a dad if your dad wasn't in your life?
Right.
We talk about, what qualities of men are supposed to be, and that's so it's a whole. We run the whole gamut. We talk about the child support thing
Mm.
and the baby mama drama and all that. Definitely talk about that. We talk about healing some of these past wounds. We talk about
Yeah.
people who grew up in the foster care system. So it's a lot of different angles
Yeah.
that are touched on that are. We talk about also the two-parent home, and
Mm.
that's very real too. We talk about what if your parents are immigrants and they're
Ah,
raising kids in America today? So we talk about a number of different topics that hit our community. And it's not just related to Black people. All people of all races go through these things. It's just from the perspective of Black
yes.
fathers and
Yes.
families. Yeah.
Yes. And that's a beautiful thing because, um, like you said, when we're talking about changing a narrative, the narrative from someone who's not experiencing that will be very narrow,
Right.
very narrow.
They can't
But then
understand it.
that's pushed out to the masses though.
Hmm.
So you have this very narrow perspective that sometimes is just based on a stereotype or also based on a narrow experience, but it's pushed out to the masses as if that's the experience.
Yep.
So to be able to touch on so many different things that contribute to this whole fatherhood summed up in a title of fatherhood, there's so many different things that go into that. And I love that because I've met a lot of different kinds of fathers,
Hmm.
single fathers,
Hmm.
working fathers,
Hmm.
people who had both parents in the house but seemingly absent, having
Yes.
one at a time, even though they're both there, and how having fathers or parents, period, who maybe don't pour into you emotionally,
Yep. We talk about that too. Yeah.
that kind of thing, or are not experienced or mature enough or whatever in themselves to give you what you need,
Hmm.
but love you.
Hmm.
Like I
Hmm.
can't give you what I can't pour from an empty cup, and how you handle that growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm actually I had already decided before this that I am going to also have the DVD in my library. I like stuff like that. I like sharing information. I'm
Thank you.
grateful that it even exists.
Yeah. Thank
You
you.
know, my brothers are fathers. My father's a father, and this
Hmm.
actually will probably help him a lot based on the conversation that we recently had. It's a beautiful thing to watch someone grow, no matter what part of their life you came in on. And I'm just one of those people. This kind of stuff gets me juiced. I thank you for I thank you for taking the time to chat with me on my little platform.
Oh yeah,
For these
definitely.
people.
I thank you for giving me the opportunity to chat with you on this platform. Again, we kind of know each other in a different way, but
Uh-huh.
to see what you're doing, just to see where you're going with it, particularly in terms of the Black business aspect and angle of it too, and trying and seeing that growth. I'm very happy for you, very proud of you as well, and looking forward to just seeing you, shoot through the stratosphere.
Well, thank you, because I got some things in the works. Keep me in
I
prayer.
know you do. I know you do.
And
Will
it's just
do.
me. It's difficult. I was talking to Danny at Jammy Tech, and I told him where I was going with it. He was like, "Yeah, that's totally doable. So, how many people are on your team?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Hi, I'm
All
my
right.
team."
I'm the
He was
team.
like, "Hmm, okay. Well," I'm like, "Well, I guess if you build it, they'll come." That's what they say. I don't
Hmm.
know.
So like me, when it's really just me, my wife. You know what I mean? And we kind of
Mhm.
the people that do it. Um, Small team, you got to start small in
Yeah,
small steps that you can manage. You know what I mean? But once it gets rolling, it's gonna roll. And
it's gonna
so
roll.
yeah,
I
stay
received that.
encouraged. Yep,
I
stay encouraged.
received that. I received that. I need that. Thank
Hmm.
you for saying that to me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm always saying it because I'm experiencing it. So you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, and I appreciate that very much. Again, you all, this is Dr. Khalid White. He is an educator, a father, an author, a filmmaker, an encourager, a speaker, and all of those fantastic things. Tap in with him, see what's coming up next, see what he already has going, www.blkmpwr.com. You can also find him at Black Empower on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and pretty much anywhere else on media. Get his books, get his films, chop it up with him. He's a pretty dope guy. You know, I met him because he was my African American history professor at San Jose City, and it was a good class. It was probably one of my favorite classes, and not just because of him, the way he explained things and all of that good stuff, but just the information alone. There's things about us that I didn't know, and of course, why? We know why.
Yeah.
But we don't have to be in the dark anymore, guys. Tap in www.blkmpwr.com, and this is Dr. Khalid White. Follow him on Instagram, YouTube, all the stuff. Okay? Yay!
Right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up because I'm hungry.
It's lunchtime. I understand completely.
Thank you again for tapping in with me, and I'm going to talk to you soon, okay?
All right. Take care.
Thank you. Bye, Instagram. See y'all.
See you.